Hey guys, my name is Karud and welcome back to Octane Street, the road here on YouTube that never ends. And today we're going to be installing some Werq lights and some interior lights.
Today's video is sponsored by Govee, a name that everybody knows and loves as they are one of the leading brands in modern LED lighting. Whether you want to add a touch of depth and mood to your home, or a gnarly set of Werq lights to your car or truck, you can't go wrong if you go Govee. With IP67 water and dust resistance, over 16 million colors to choose from, and the ability to be controlled via the Govee Home App, the Govee Werq lights are not only one of their newer products added to their line, but also some of the best Werq lights on the market. And for those of you wondering, yes, this is Kern doing his English accent.
So huge shout out to Govee. If you guys want a discount on their products on Amazon, then be sure to use the code Octane Street to get you a discount. Absolutely love their products, but don't take my word for it. If you guys don't believe me, be sure to check them out on Amazon, because you know, if I'm willing to share it with you guys on the channel, then it's got to be some great products. So let's get to what the install entails and how exactly we're going to go about it. All right guys, so come in here. I'm going to show you guys the fuse box, because we're going to be tapping into the fuse box, and then I'm going to show you guys all the tools we have and do a little bit of an unboxing here. So I already picked out the fuse that I'm going to be tapping into, and the one that I chose is actually going to be this fuse right here, this 15 amp, and I'm going to tap into that. This is for my, I believe, AC clutch, so most likely to do with climate controls, which is of course always on when the car is on, and that's when I want to be able to use my underglow and Werq lights. So we're going to be tapping into that. I'm actually going to pull that out right now just so I don't forget. And we already have our spare 10 amp fuse in here, and this is the one that's going to be actually controlling the fog lights, not fog lights, the Werq lights. And it just is, this is what you call a fuse tap wire, and we're just going to be sticking in the positive of the Werq lights into here, crimp it down, electrical tape, and then we're going to plug this into that spot of the fuse. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little pliers here to just pull this out real quick, and hopefully it fits here with no issue. Alright guys, so because of how big this fuse tapper is, I'm not actually going to be able to use the AC clutch one that I wanted to. Instead, what I'm going to have to do is use this fuse right here, this 20 amp fuse, which according to you know, the diagram for the fuse box in my Mustang, is the radio, and the radio is only on when the car is on, so this is going to be a perfect one to tap into. I had to do a little bit of research, guys. I'm not too familiar with doing these things, so I did a little bit of research to make sure that you can fuse tap a 10 amp into a 20 amp safely, and I think as long as your gauge, your wire is thick enough to handle 30 amps, then you're for sure more than safe. And this is some pretty thick gauge wire. It's like 14 or possibly even 12 gauge. So we're going to go ahead and remove the radio one here, and I'm just going to put it in here like so. Make sure it's all the way in. Alright, now if this does blow, obviously when anything electrical, it could catch on fire or whatnot, but I'll also be missing my radio, so that's not fun or good. So go ahead and push that all the way in, nice and snug there. And then this wire is kind of free to just, you know, I could wire it around, go around here or something. We'll figure something out. Yeah, this should be good. So that's doing some prep work for later on. I'm just going to go ahead and cover this back up now. Alright, I'm going to leave that like that for now, and come with me over here and I'll show you guys what's actually in the box so we can take a closer look. So these are the Werq lights, and again, these are mostly for off-roading, so for trucks, SUVs, anything of that type. It does come with some zip ties. These are always useful. You're definitely going to need these, especially with how much wiring these kits could come with. So if you wanted to put Werq lights on your limousine for some reason, these come with enough wiring to definitely do that. And not only that, but they're IP67 waterproof and dust proof, and also weatherproof all around. So They're extremely durable. These are actually pretty heavy themselves. This is like a little over a pound, I'd say, just in this actual rock light itself. So definitely durable, definitely useful if you're planning on going off-road, and weatherproof, tightly sealed, so you're not going to have any issues, you know, going on all kinds of terrain. Inside here you have your main hub slash switch, and this is the part that actually will connect to your fuse box and that you'll have to actually ground out. So this is the big controller module. As you guys could see, you have all your connections for each individual rock light. So you'll just connect it like this to this part and tighten that down a little bit, and then you can find a nice place to put this. You have your on-off switch, and you're rocking and rolling. So it's pretty cool. We're gonna go ahead and situate where I actually want to put these rock lights and go from there. So just come with me to the wheel well here and we'll take a look. So now in most instances you're going to want to put it on the far back of your wheel well, all the way up there, or if you want you can put it at the top, but then you're kind of not getting the most light out of them. Because it's just going to be pointing down onto your tire, and you want it to actually be showing kind of the ground and the area around it. They are super bright though, so that's a great benefit with going with the Govee product. And again, there's over 16 million colors because you get to just go on the app, because they are app controlled, and I'm going to show you guys the app later on. But to be honest guys, I don't want to install them here. I know they're supposed to be, but I actually want to test something out and just install them underneath my rocker panels to kind of use it as like an underglow for now until I actually get underglow, and then I'll put these in the proper location for rock light positions, and then I'll drill them into the inner fender there. Alright guys, so I did find a temporary spot where I wanted to hook these rock lights up to. Again, we're doing it under the rocker panel because I don't have space to get into my inner fenders yet, and not only that, but I'm actually going to move it there later on when I actually get underglow. But I want to see how these work for underglow. Again, it's not their purpose, but I think we can make it work for now. So if you come here with me, actually, you'll see that the spot I actually went with is right here. So you can see one is here. That's the front one, closest to the front wheel here. And I just pretty much put zip ties through part of the body, the rocker panel, and then tied it to hold it up pretty much. So it's a nice little temporary solution. We have a tiny bit of slack here in the wire still from the back, but the back is much nicer and tighter, if I'm being honest. And as you guys can see, it's not gonna really go anywhere, of course. And again, these are just temporary positions for them. And so with that being said, now we're actually going to, I already fed the wires up through the engine bay here, which you guys will see like this. It's coming up from here and way down there, and I just fed it up. And so we have a ton of wire here right now, and I went ahead and attached it to the big control module, this thing right here that actually controls it all. So we have our little adapter here, and what's going to happen is we're going to take off this fender bolt and ground this out to the chassis here, to the fender, and that's going to be our ground. And then, as we mentioned, for our positive, we're going to be putting it into this little fuse tap connector, and that's how we're going to get our power. So we're getting the power directly from the fuse box, and we're getting our ground directly from the chassis of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and connect this in, make sure it's proper. So I'm just stick it all the way in. I'm going to go ahead and crimp it. Okay, so now it's not coming out. It's in there pretty well. I'm tugging and it's in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a little lighter here to heat it up. So we have a pretty good seal all around it, as you guys can see here. It's pretty good. I'll go ahead and add a little bit of electric tape just to make it perfectly sound. I already think I took out the correct one here. Yeah, it's here. So just go ahead and add a tiny bit of electrical tape. Making sure it's not hot anymore. Alright, so this is a weatherproof ground now. Good to go. And now we just got to worry about the positive. I wish this sheath would not come up so high. Alright guys, so we did have a little bit of a problem, which is this split where it splits off from power and ground is too short for my car. I know a lot of cars have their fuse box where my battery is, and therefore it's a little bit easier to get to your fender bolts and stuff. So what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna use a butt connector because I do have some spare wire here from, if you guys remember, I did install my own head unit in this car, and that was a little bit of a kind of moment. So yeah, I have some spare 18 gauge wire, and it's a little bit thicker than this, but that shouldn't be too big of an issue. And I'm just gonna vampire clip it here. And if you guys don't know what a vampire clip is, it's these neat little things here where you just stick one end of each wire into it, clip it down, and then they're essentially connected through this little clip. So I'm gonna just vampire clip this here and extend the wire as much as I need to get to the fuse box, because I'm by no means a proper electrician. And this, while it's not hard, like doing this stuff is not hard, specifically this stuff, electrician stuff is very intricate and difficult with wattage, amps, voltage, and how they all affect each other and stuff like that. Very intricate stuff, but while this stuff's not too hard, it's just that the positioning. I wish Govee, of course, gave a little bit more space here to actually allow you to, you know, put it a little bit further and stuff like that. Maybe I'm missing something. You guys might be letting me know in the comments, like I'm stupid as hell for, you know, overlooking something. But for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm first gonna ground this out so that I know how much wire I need to actually get to the fuse box. So I did say that I was gonna go with this bolt here, and I am just gonna slightly clean the surface off here like that, and then I'm just gonna ground it out here like so. And that's gonna be that. And I just want to put it on one. Because we want this to stay here, so and I'm just going to snug it down with an actual ratchet, which is right here. Alright, so that's good. Of course, it does suck that you ruined the paint on your bolt. People could tell that, you know, you took off your fender bolts. But that's okay. You know, for certain installs, that's just what you have to do. And so now that we have that, I'm going to try and run an approximation of how much wire I need to get from here to the fuse box. So I'm just going to kind of map it out like so. And a little bit extra would be nice so that I don't have to take this apart and do it again. So I'm going to be a little bit lenient with how much wire I think I need. And to be honest, this seems like a pretty good spot right here. Go ahead and cut that. Put the extra wire aside. Get our vampire clip. Now these are really neat. You just stick one one side and one on the other. And you just clamp this bad boy down, typically with a pliers. Alright, now you give both a tug. Very sturdy, stable, and this is a weatherproof vampire clip, so it should be all fine and stuff like that. I will also put some electrical tape around it, but now we connect this in here. I do need to strip the wire a little bit, and I believe this is 18 gauge, so we'll go to the 18 hole here. And just like that, our wire is stripped. And I'm just gonna do the old twisty. This might be a little too much exposed wire, and if that's the case, I can always just cut excess off. Shouldn't be a big deal. Little retwist, slide that in there, and then we're just going to crimp here. Like so. Give a tug. Perfect, not going anywhere. And these aren't weather sealed, so I will put some tape on that as well. And now we should be able to see if these bad boys work. I have it grounded, I have it powered. If I turn the car on, it should be rock and roll time. So yeah, I'm actually super excited to see if this actually works now. So what do you guys say? Did we do a good job? Alright guys, so we just got all of them installed here, and honestly I think I did a pretty good job. Let me go ahead and show you guys what I mean by that. So I'm gonna drop down here. Damn, that was like a one-arm push-up on these. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see here. So as you guys can see, you can't see any of the wire at all, like no matter where I go. And it's all the way to the front, all the way on the other side as well. And that's because I actually tucked the wire into my rocker panel as well. So I completely tucked the wire. And then if we come up to the front here, let's do some army crawls. If we come up to the front here, you guys will see that I have my wheel liner here, and I tucked it behind here. So this is the only slack of wire that you see. I tucked it behind the wheel liner all the way up to the engine bay. And let's go ahead and show you guys that. So coming up to here, you guys can see that I actually put the wires up through here. It's a little bit hard to see, and I made one of them because the front rock lights are obviously they have a shorter wire. So the front rock light I had to cut through here. It's not touching the valve cover though. It's not even that close to it. Like the wire's over here and the valve cover's all the way over here. So I have it coming out to here. And this is the front rock light that I'm talking about. And I just tucked it right under here. You guys can see that there. And then the rear rock light I have coming up through to here. I zip tied it along the side here. Nicely under here. You can't see the wires until here. And then again when we actually get back to the main hub here, which has everything already wired up and ready to go with our on-off switch, just like that. And I'm actually gonna mount this here right to this panel using some zip ties so that everything is nice. All the wires are tucked. The other side is nicely done as well. Comes up through there. And I obviously tucked it in the rocker panel just like I did for this side. And you do have a lot of wire slack here. So I just tied it up, and I could honestly just like zip tie it up to like right here if I wanted. right here. Just zip tie it towards flush like that. So yeah, it's pretty good. And the last thing I'm just gonna do is, again, zip tie the actual hub to this body panel right here using some zip ties. So my whole thing for this install was zip ties, and actually it came out pretty clean. It did take a lot of elbow grease, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see how that looks in the night. But yeah, we have to let the sun obviously finish coming down, and then we'll go ahead in the meantime install the interior lights so we could get that jamming. And then once nighttime comes, we just put on a light show for the whole neighborhood. How's that sound? Just finished installing the rock lights all around the car, and while we're waiting for the sun to set, and so I can give you guys a better idea of how bright they are, especially at nighttime, we're gonna go ahead and install the interior lights. Again, huge shout out to Govee for sponsoring today's video. They truly do have some of the best LED lights on the market. To be honest, they even have lights for inside houses, so you can have it in your room, you know, for your light bulb. And honestly, I didn't tell them this, guys. This is between me and you. But I actually owned Govee products before they actually reached out to me. So I didn't want to let them know that I'm already a paying customer. So yeah, I was super stoked to see when they actually reached out to me. But that's besides the point. What we're going to do is install these. But actually, just before we install them, we're just going to plug them in. I'm going to connect it to the app and show you guys a little bit about the app. And we're going to make sure that these work before we go through the whole trouble of doing a nice, clean, seamless install. So let's hop in the car and plug them up and see what happens. Alright guys, so we're inside the car. Let's go ahead and see what's actually inside the box and everything that you get with the interior lighting. Of course, you got your manuals and QR codes if you want to scan it to share that stuff. Of course, you also have your entire actual assembly here. And it's going to come with your 12 volt power, so you can plug this into the cigarette lighter, which is what we're going to do to make sure that this is all working and everything is dandy. Because of course, we don't want to go ahead and professionally install it just for it to not be working, right? So we're going to go ahead and plug it in. And you also do have a controller here, so if you ever want to just control it with this at the, you know, flick of the wrist, so to say. You got power, brightness, and then color cycle or pattern. So let's go ahead and plug these in. It is still daytime, as you guys can clearly tell, so you're not going to see it as bright as seeing it in person or later on when I show you guys it at nighttime. But let's go ahead and plug it in. And the neat thing now is there is a little button as well. I'm going to turn my car on. Okay, and there is a neat little button here as well. So if you really want to turn it on, you press the button on the cigarette lighter. And they're so bright, they almost blinded me. But yeah, you could also then control it with this once this is actually on. So you don't have to keep that exposed anywhere. You could just have this bolted somewhere like that. Obviously, you're not just going to bolt it ugly like that. We're going to do a nice professional install for this one because I actually want to permanently install these, unlike the rock lights. The rock lights I'm going to be moving around and changing a bit because I am going to get underglow. But with these are going to be permanent installation today, right now. And so yeah, you put it on. They're super, super blinding. You could change the cycle, the color that you want just with the click of the button. And then you also got patterns. Wow, that is crazy. So guys, this is morning time and they're hella bright right now. So not only that, guys, but Govee does also give you a beautiful, nice, feels like stainless steel remote. And it's a nice little remote. You could also control it with the remote. I'll go ahead and show you guys that. So take it off, put it on. Very, very cool stuff. And lastly, guys, I want to show you guys the app. Okay, now the app is one of the coolest parts of this system. It's a Bluetooth enabled system, and so essentially what you just do is you go into Govee. And now guys, this is an app I literally had from time. Again, I had it before Govee ever reached out to me. And if you want to add a new device, as you guys can see, I have my bedroom here because I legitimately use their light bulbs, and I already added it. But you would essentially just go to the plus button, search up the code right here, the model number right above my phone, model H6119, and then once you add it, you could get to name it and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it and show you guys how fast it connects, just like that. And then you have all your colors and options in here as well. So beautiful, beautiful stuff. Govee literally makes some of the best LED stuff for inside your car, inside your house, whatever you want, at a very affordable and awesome price. And these don't feel cheap at all. They're flexible, bendable, high material rubber, and you know, I'm just stoked to install this. So enough talking, guys, enough showcasing. Let's get to the install, and I'm gonna mock things up where I want it, and then we'll pick back up from there. All right, guys, so I kind of got an idea of how I'm gonna do it, and the way I'm gonna hide all the wires is I'm just gonna run the entire thing through the center console here. It's actually not even gonna go through the front, it's gonna go through right here. I have a 12 volt inside my glove box, or not my glove box, but inside my center console here, and there's also a little detachable piece right here that could get straight down into hold on a minute, that could get straight down into the floor. So I'm gonna put the wires in through here and plug it in this 12 volt right here. So it's gonna be super seamless, super beautiful, and all the wires are gonna be hidden. Very, very professional job that I'm planning to do for these. And yeah, there's gonna be no wires. There's gonna be 2 up front and then 2 in the back by the footwell. So I'm excited, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take apart all of this like I did in the install of my head unit. Thank God I have that experience and knowledge already, so let's get it started. So as you guys can see, we took apart the entire dash here, and it's looking pretty good. It's always fun taking your dash apart. Nothing but a couple of bolts. You just got to kind of locate them, and of course manufacturers are going to want to hide these bolts, so locate them and you're good to go. But yeah, we're just going to now wire string through the lights through this little pocket here in the dash like I mentioned earlier, and kind of set them all in their place and where they need to be, and then we're kind of golden from there. I do need to get 2 of the lights behind the front here, the front section here, just so that the wires are hiding behind there as well, and I could just split it out to the driver and passenger side. And again, this is going to be a really, really beautiful install. Doesn't even take that long as you know your car. Again, we've done this a couple of times now, so it didn't take too long, and thankfully I have all the tools with me. So yeah, I'm just going to continue stringing them through and update you guys once everything is kind of in its final place. So I put everything in the positions that they're supposed to go. We got our fronts in their position and our backs in their position. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna wire this wire through here, through our sill, our door sill here. And then we're gonna wire it through our little kick plate here. And then it's gonna be up here on the top, something like that. So you guys will get a better angle of that later on when we get to the front. Right now we're gonna start with the back. And the key here for the back, guys, if you are doing this yourself, is you want to make sure you have enough slack on it so that your seat can go all the way back and all the way forward. So that's definitely a key, and something you need to definitely be wary of. So we're going to go ahead and mount this up. We're going to go ahead and mount it up. I need a little bit more slack here, like that, so that way the seat can go all the way forward, no problem. And now we get to mounting. So I know where I wanted it, right here. Let's give it a quick wipe. Take off the 3M backing. And we're just gonna mount it. So now with the seat in its seating position, that's shining perfectly at the toes of the person in the back. And there we go. Backs are done. And now I do actually want to put this one underneath here so it doesn't get caught in the rails of the seat. We're just gonna thread it through like that. So now it's underneath the rails, it won't get caught by the seat moving forward and backward. Yeah. And you could give it a feel, make sure that is indeed the case. We got our slack here, moving and grooving. And with that, we should honestly be pretty good to move on to our actual sill area here. Move that back. Let's bust this out like this. And this we've already done before in previous videos. It's just a pull You will have some sticky tape underneath, keeping it together like so. And then we just remove this, and we have our wiring that we're gonna try and work with here. So we're gonna start by taking our wire. And we're just kind of gonna zip tie it along the way here. And now we do need to take off this little kit plate. And so for here, we're gonna take off this little cover. And we're just gonna pull it from the outside here. There shouldn't be any there's no little screw or anything like that holding it in. Should just come right off. Feels like something's holding it on, but I don't see what it could be. I guess this is connected to some wire, so we'll just leave it like that for now and continue to put this through the crack, and we'll make it come out through here. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. We want the wire under the carpeting, and we're actually just going to zip tie this now to right here, just to get it a little bit in its place, because we're pretty much almost done. Once we get it down to there, we're just going to stick it up, and that should be that. So let's start with here. I want it under here first. You guys can see I already have a zip tie around here for a previous install. Put it the wrong way here. Okay. Good old zip ties. They always come in handy and get the job done with keeping things in place. Gotta love them. Just kind of go along the following pretty much factory wiring, and just trying to get a nice seamless install. It's always the goal. Out of sight, out of mind. Am I right? Get one more in right here, just like so. And now we can tug on here on the inside and see that that's nice and snug. And we're just about there. We're actually we might be able to leave this through here, depending if there's a crack. Let's see if there's a crack here. Oh, I guess these go up here first. So there is a little crack here, which we can actually use to our advantage, because now that's nice and flush, and this just comes up like this. Perfect length as well, and this is never going to be moving, so we don't have to worry too much about that. So with that being said, let's tighten these zip ties up. We have enough slack for the back seat to move, and now we can just kind of clip these zip ties. We're rocking and rolling. Trim down the previous installs as well. Okay, and then one more down here. Okay, and now we can kind of put these back, put the carpeting back. That's all set. Wiring's all good. And then we can get our sill plate. Make sure we're not clipping any of the wire here. So we want to make sure that they're nicely tucked. And then start from this side. There is our wiring. We can also zip tie it one last time to here if we wanted, just to make that nice. But even in its all the way back position, it's like it looks tight. Nope, nice and loose. So that being said, we can check the back of the chair, make sure this one's still on nicely. Yep, nice slack here, perfect. And you know, your rear passengers shouldn't be flailing their feet around unless they're kids. And then in the front, all we do is stick it on and call it a day here. And I'm thinking it's gonna go right underneath the glove box. A little bit more slack would have been good for the front here. You know what would help a lot actually is if this came out through the top here. Good thing is these are a little bit bendy, so come out through the top. We don't even have to be bothered with the little gap here. Slide this back in, and now we got plenty of room here to mount it. And I want to see if this swings out with the glove box. So it does, which is completely fine in my opinion, and I'm actually comfortable saying that this is going to be the spot. So take that off, give it a quick wipe, and square it off here. Right here should be perfect. Yeah. And since this is my glove box, guys, I could easily screw it down in here for a more permanent solution as well. I'm just gonna make sure none of the wires are actually, you know, being tugged on or pulled in any way, shape, or form. And this should be, you know, perfect, nice install. None of the wires showing. This is as good as it's gonna get. None of the wires here, only here. And again, we have that slack in front position and rear position. Perfect. So we have some movement, slack. That's what you want to see. So we're all good, and it's almost sunset, guys, so we're just gonna keep waiting for the sun to set. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Didn't take too long, and let's see how it looks in the nighttime. I have a feeling it's gonna look amazing, but I'll see you guys there.